name is Daria. I'm from Ukraine, Kryvyi Rih city. It's the hometown of our current president, Zelensky. Itself, it's a huge industrial city. The biggest town nearby is Dnipro. Dnipro was attacked a couple of times recently. A lot of dead people, unfortunately. Kherson is also not so far. Well, they are attacking us with all kind of means, Everything they have, I think they have been using already, apart from nuclear stuff. My experience, I experienced rockets, missiles, I heard mines, and this is just something you cannot be prepared for, and you cannot treat it as a normal life situation, so your body reacts in a very weird way. Everything started for us in Kyiv. So the night when the war started, me and my mom, we were in Kyiv. I will never forget that morning because it's just hard to believe that this is something real. It's not a movie, it's not a TV show, this is something that happens to you right now, and you have to be very calm. However, you cannot stay calm because you hear the sounds you have never heard, you see the stuff you have never seen, and the worst is panic, even though you are not panicking, but people around are, and it is causing just a huge drama around you. So yeah, we were in Kyiv, the war started there. We decided to leave Kyiv because we knew that they are coming close, as they were saying they want to take Kyiv during the 3 days. The only wish was to come back home, to our hometown, because somehow you feel safe only when you are at home. So we were not running away to the border in the beginning of the war. We had big hopes that everything will end quite soon. We couldn't believe, it was just not a part of your brain that, it goes on now for more than a year. So we came back home, but it's easy to say that we came back. We were evacuating from Kyiv. The worst life experiences in my life, because as I mentioned, a lot of panic around, constant panic, and people were just fighting for their lives, trying to board the train, almost killing each other. Because everyone wants to escape, everyone wants to survive. That was a very harsh day, a couple of days actually, because we didn't leave directly. We left in a couple of days, Kyiv. Then when we arrived home, we still had some hopes that okay, maybe it ends soon, but the situation was escalating every day, every hour. They were getting close. We knew that they are already 50 kilometers from our hometown, and another thing what motivated us to run away and run away fast was that all the logistics was destroyed almost immediately, and my mom is a cancer patient, and we realized that there is no possibility to continue the treatment. The war started on the 25th, and her next chemotherapy was supposed to start on the 28th. So we were failing all the schedules, and that was the reason for us to decide that we have to escape Ukraine. For us it took in general 2 days, almost 3 days. We were traveling to Hungary from our hometown, and first we had to take a train from our hometown to Uzhhorod. Then we were staying in Uzhhorod for 1 night, and then actually the crossing of the border was the simplest step of the whole journey and the fastest. We spent almost 24 hours in a train. Of course, there was no room for everyone. People were sleeping on the floor all together, few people on the same bench. Some people were spending nights in the toilet, in the corridor. So Some people had no room even to lay down. They were just standing all these hours. So the train was so packed with kids, dogs, women. It was crazy, but in the end, I mean, everyone realized what is going on, and people were quite tolerant to each other, to the circumstances, and tried to help each other. There was not enough water, not enough food, so unforgettable experience. In Uzhhorod, we were hosted by a friend of mine. We'll never forget that help as well, so we spent night in Uzhhorod. She prepared some very nice dinner for us, so we could finally eat and have a rest. And the next day we traveled to Mukachevo and then crossed the border at Zahony. I was pleasantly surprised by the amount of people who met us at the border and then in Budapest. Volunteers, international volunteers, directly giving us bottles of water, some snacks, asking how they can help, taking my bags, you know, helping me to lift the weight and so on. It was incredible, and I could see that everyone is working like one. Still, I mean, it was just the beginning, but you could see that there's already a system. So everyone knows what to do, how to do, and everyone does his or her best to support and to solve like this crowd flow, you know, to help them to reach the destinations as soon as possible. I just knew that I have people here who will support me in the beginning, since I've been living here before the war for some time. And for me, the most important part was to be able to continue my mother's treatment. So prior to the evacuation from Ukraine, I did a couple of calls, and I started to find out if this medicine is available here and where they can help us and so on. And the moment I got the confirmation that it's possible and they will accept my mom for the treatment, we just went directly to Hungary, and that was it. She's a special case because she has two cancers, two simultaneous cancers, both terminal stage. And in general, her situation is not an easy case. And she is getting two treatments in parallel. Thanks God, it's been a year now. It's going ups and downs, like as usual with cancer patients, but she is getting the treatment. We are doing our best to overcome the side effects and so on. So all this cancer story is a special case, but it was possible just and only because we fled. There are no medicine in Ukraine now, especially for these types of cancers. So people are forced actually now to leave Ukraine, even though they want to stay at home, but they are choosing to flee somewhere just to find a solution for the medications. So it's another hard story for patients, not only cancer patients though. In general, the whole medical support, the whole system is down in Ukraine, and I don't know whether it will be rebuilt one day or not. I think it's going quite well since I'm officially employed. I'm working with Hungarians, and not only Hungarians, it's an international company. I'm trying to survive with English, however, I mean, I do not expect people to reply me in English, since they are not supposed to know English in Hungary. And especially if you're going to some institutions, governmental institutions, it might be challenging with communication. But I don't know, I think I was lucky enough. I always feel a response, and when you try, people are quite nice. I mean, I didn't have any unpleasant experiences. I mean, of course, depends, like communicational issues and so on, but in general, I have a very good impression regarding the accommodation and so on. In my case, it's only me and my mom, so I have to support both. So I'm trying to get all kind of possibilities to work extra, to get some extra money. But coming back to question of integration, I think it's a long, difficult process. I don't feel that I'm failing though. I'm trying my best, but I have still a potential to grow, and I will try to do that. I would say that one of the biggest challenges is not related to life in Hungary though. One of the biggest challenges for us is to heal this huge trauma which we got and which we keep getting every day, receiving horrible news from home, because you cannot disconnect from that, and you don't want to disconnect because you are genuinely worried about the situation every day and night. So one of the hardest part is to be away, to not feel 100% included, because you always want to help, you want to make something to help the soldiers, I don't know, to do anything possible to stop this crazy situation. And when you are away, no matter where you are, you just don't feel that you're doing enough. So this is the hardest challenge, and I'm facing it every day from the moral perspective. And at the same time, you cannot be there because you can be killed any moment. So this is the biggest challenge. The rest went very smooth, and thanks God, my mom received the treatment, and I keep going with my job, with my stuff. So we try to have some walks, we try to relax somehow, and fortunately Budapest is an amazing city with a lot of things to do, to see, so it helps you to heal in a way. I'm also attending a choir which was organized by Ukrainian refugees, so we are trying to support each other here as well. We have a small community, like a cozy circle of people with same experience, and we are trying to grow here, to ambassador our culture. I feel much more relaxed here, and people are more relaxed, more slow. Ukrainians want to solve everything at once. Apart from that, I think we have a lot in common in folk culture, for example. I know Hungarians are also singing, you know, when they feel good, when they feel bad. Same for Ukrainians. So, yeah, we have a lot in common still, even though the language is completely different. But when you hear some tones and melodies, because I was listening to some folk Hungarian songs, I see a lot of interactions with Ukrainian culture as well. People are helpful, even though, as you mentioned, politics is another story. But when you speak to civilians, when you tell them your story, when you share your experience, I have never seen and heard anyone saying that, like, oh, you came here, what are you doing here? Go home, and so on. Never, never. It's just, it's a lot of propaganda. It's a lot of cliches, you know. Again, like the word itself, the word refugee has some connotations, and people start treating you sometimes, you know, differently. What I face is extreme support, empathy, interest. Because people are interested in knowing the truth. They don't want to listen to TV. They don't want to listen to politicians, you know, using this diplomatic way of describing things. They want to hear you, they want to hear your story, and that's why I'm quite open about everything. I mean, since day one, I'm actively sharing everything on my social media. I'm trying to, you know, ruin that wall that can be between people. I'm just trying to explain my own experience. It's not something that I created, or I'm not dreaming, you know, this is the reality. I can tell you a funny story this time. The biggest surprise is the amount of fat food Hungarians eat. Surprise effect on me. Apart from that, I cannot say that I was surprised again, but I was pleasantly... I mean, it was a huge impression of the amount of people trying to help at Nyugati pályaudvar back then, and the amount of old people actually trying to support. So not only younger generations and like active youth who were, you know, on the front line with this volunteering and stuff, but I've seen a lot of old people trying to help. And they were volunteering as translators, because some people from older generations here can speak Russian still, maybe not on a perfect level, but they were trying to be useful. So I was almost crying when I saw the amount of people trying to give something to you, trying to share clothes, food, everything. So people were touched, and I was surprised by the amount of people. You never expect that, you know, you get such a feedback to your problem. It doesn't mean that I was not expecting Hungarians to help. You have to understand my thought here. But when you see it with your eyes, I was like, oh my God, this is just something we have to always remember and always be grateful for. I keep asking myself this question quite often, because it feels like the ability to plan is like gone completely. You can plan maximum for the next day, and then you have no idea what will happen. And you know, sometimes it feels like it's a smart choice, because when you make huge plans and then your life just turns, you know, another direction. So what are those plans were about? Yeah, we plan to win, we plan to come back home, we plan to rebuild everything and do our best to bring Ukraine to the certain level of life quality and so on. So this is like the biggest dream in general. For myself, of course, I want my mom to see the victory and to come back home healthy, or at least not, you know, undergoing some not easy life and health situations. So I want to have that cancer situation stable as well. And for myself, I just want to learn how to make plans again. So this is like, it's a loop, it's a circle. Good question. Yeah, so we will see how it goes. We are doing every day our best to have this opportunity to plan and to think about the future. Still very important skill to plan, but sometimes it's just not so useful. I'm satisfied with how everything is going on, if you know what I mean. So there are no intentions to, I don't know, change country or anything else, because we love Hungary. It's our second home now. Of course, if it will become safe in Ukraine, of course we will come back. But again, in our case, it's not just about safety, it's also about the treatment. So if there will be no treatment, there will be just no choice, and we will stay.